picks up a first down.
And I'm going to go back to, we talked to our friends, Charles Bishop and Neely. They follow Jackson State football and having dinner with them. I mean, they said this team feels like nobody can score 3 times on them. 3 times. He didn't say if it was 3 field goals, 3 touchdowns. Prairie View has scored twice. Touchdown, field goal. That's how good this defense is. And, whoa, they are as good as advertised.
4th best in all of FCS.
It got to get to the point where whoever we're doing the broadcast that week of the game, they're going to have to sit down with y'all because y'all know us better than everybody.
Sure.
And y'all know some of the inside stuff
we do.
that I may not tell them because I don't trust them. But
sure. Trust us.
Okay. Trust y'all.
We appreciate that.
We
trust.
appreciate that, Coach.
Much love, baby.
Let's get back to strolling instead of scrolling. Before we can safely come together, we need the facts on COVID-19 vaccines. Visit getvaccineanswers.org so you can make an informed decision for yourself and for your fam.
For 200 years, Montgomery, Alabama has been making history by people who had the courage to stand up for change. Today, this riverfront city has been reborn, embracing the past and looking forward to the future. From the National Memorial for Peace and Justice to the stage of the Alabama Shakespeare Festival, this is where history was and is made. We are proud to call Montgomery home, and together, we can be the change.
When you're looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics, there's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
Nope. Nope.
Come on, him.
Ooh, I like him.
Quick, the quicker picker-upper. Bounty picks up messes quicker, and each sheet is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less.
He's an 8.
He's a 9.
Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
This is the BCSN Pod Zone, your place for the news, views, and conversations about all things related to HBCU athletics. Here are the BCSN Sports Wrap, Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab, Knights of the Round Table, the pregame show, the Carlos Brown Show, the ONG Strike Zone, and more in one place. We are changing the way you consume HBCU sports, one broadcast at a time.
That's right, y'all. The Black College Baseball Championship Series is back. The Black College World Series return May 11th through 15th to a place where so much black history has been made. Montgomery, Alabama, to the home of the Montgomery Biscuit. That's right. Riverwalk Stadium, downtown Montgomery, Alabama. The cries have been heard, and Black College Championships LLC is here to answer the call. No longer will the poll determine our champion, as the top baseball teams from NCAA Division II and NAIA meet on the field for Black College baseball supremacy.
Yeah. I love my HBCU. And boy, I love it, love it. I love it, love it. I love my HBCU. And man, I hope my team they won. Yeah. I hope my team they won. Yeah. Man, I hope my team they won. Yeah. I hope my team they won. Yeah. I I tune into the HBCU Sports Lab to see if my team won or lost. If they lost, I'm quiet as a mouse. But if they won, keep tab. I'ma do the dab, yeah. Dr. Cavil, he know what he be talking about. Mike and Charles, they know what they be talking about. They compress the analytic data with this hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they won or lost, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil's with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Mike Washington is out on assignment. He's literally in the air right now, flying around. He had a change of flight, so he's going to make the show. And then the airlines won't let him be great, as they say. So with that being said, we have our clinical professor, A.D. Drew, in the house, along with Professor Bishop. So welcome to episode 253 of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab radio show and podcast, the show that's covering the sporting HBCU for all things HBCU sports. From institutions large and small, from the NAIA to the NCAA, we share insights and information on the HBCU sports culture, HBCU athletic aesthetics to facilitate the story of HBCU athletic programs and the business of HBCU sports. I'm your host, Dr. Kenyatta, along with my co-hosts, Mike Washington, Charles Bishop. As I said, A.D. Drew will be in the building today. We're filming from our home studios and sending a signal live to KCOA 1230 AM studios with the Texas Radio Hall of Famer, multi-Hall of Famer, I should say, Ralph Cooper in the beautiful home of Texas Southern University from Houston, Texas. Let me get to my colleagues here and go straight to Professor Bishop. How are you doing today?
Doing well, Doc. I got a chance to go into Jackson this past weekend, catch a little bit of Jackson State's open scrimmage. So that was fun. But I tell you what, man, we got to get into it. It's going to be a very exciting show today. Of course, just making the rounds was Amisha Williams-Holiday and getting drafted last night by the Indiana Fever.
I didn't hear about that, Charles.
I know you're just not going to fly by that. We're going to come back to you so you can go a little deeper in there because your test is out there, and it should be. I mean, representing Jackson State University, SWAC, and HBCUs, that is really big-time history. We were all on the call Dwayne Lewis put together with the coach and Anisha Williams in terms of what's going on there. So I'm going to let you take a little deeper dive into that. But before I do that, let me make sure I welcome Professor Drew to the studios and ask him how he's doing. I see that he has the 2022 cap on for the Black College World Series. And before I do that, let me just go ahead and get this promo in tonight on the show. Tune in tomorrow night and the following 3 Wednesdays for the Road to Montgomery, the Black College World Series preview show. Join A.G. Drew of BCSN and Michael Toka of the Black College Nines as they preview the potential participants in the NCAA Division II and NAIA baseball for this historic event. The Road to Montgomery will be live streamed right here on the Black College Sports Network at 7 p.m. Eastern, that's 6 p.m. Central. So make sure you dig that and catch that. And hopefully I didn't steal too much of your thunder because I just wanted to say, how you doing, Professor Drew?
Oh, working hard, trying to put together the show script for tomorrow night, graphics, even though it's only a 4-week podcast, anytime that you come on, and you know how we like to do it at the Black College Sports Network, we want it to be professional. We don't want you to know the difference between our 4 letters and the other 4-letter network when it comes to the production on the streaming side. Obviously, the over-the-air stuff, they got us beat. We can't touch that. But when you get on that phone, tablet, iPad, computer, we want it to be the same quality, same similar type graphics, all that good stuff. So lot of long, hard work putting this stuff together. And
you do a great job at that.
Yeah, really looking forward to this Black College World Series. As we start to get more and more people in tune to what we're trying to do in Montgomery, Alabama.
Awesome. Yes, no doubt. We look forward to it as well. You do a great job. Keep it going. Let me go back to Charles. Do not want to bury the lead. Williams-Holiday selected in WNBA draft. First HBCU player drafted since 2002. Charles, how you feeling, man?
I mean, I'm so excited for her. I mean, They had the cameras there for her watch party in terms of when she got drafted. And to, it's one of those situations you almost get a little bit emotional when you see athletes realize their dreams. And for her to get that call from Indiana Fever and to have those tears of joy and to be surrounded by family, surrounded by her coaches from middle school to high school to college, it was surreal to kind of watch it. But I tell you what, so extremely proud for Misha from the time she came into Jackson State. She really reset Jackson State women's basketball, and it is a tremendous thing to sit back and watch.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like you said, I'm just glad I had to do my little reporting and be that part. So I can only imagine how you feel following them all year long, seeing the growth. And I'm not talking about this year. A lot of people now see a lot more of what you've done, but you following this program from ages, particularly over the last couple of years in terms of what I frankly want to say is a rebirth to Jackson State athletics. And that's from afar, just the rich tradition, but how much is going on. And you got Phillips on here that says it, I love, the epicenter of all HBCU sports and culture. And it's hard for me to argue with that. We tease each other and we have our own pride, but in terms of what's going on there, it certainly is the epicenter in a lot of ways. Obviously, other HBCUs are doing some tremendous work on various levels, but right now, a lot of great attention is going into Jackson, Mississippi, deservedly so. Let me give a shout out to Chad Cooper. Good evening, as he says. Chuck Hunt is always in the building. Ninzo Phillips, Ricky Burton, G. Boom Holly, and that was Phillips that said, I love, giving us the business right there, talking about the epicenter of all HBCU sports and culture. I have to agree with that, as I said. G. Boom Holly says, time for the lab. Date, I'm ready. Let's go. Karen Griffin, greetings from Southern California. Ricky Burton always says, we in the lab, baby. Yes, Troy Franklin. Christopher Darrell, I think that's Darrell that I know there. Chuck Hunt, I'm going to leave it like that, though. Edwin Dwight. Dwight Moore is in the house. Says, good evening, Dean and professors. No doubt about it. Lennon Blow. Ricky Burton again. So shout out, keep it coming. In terms of, to give you the latest and greatest, she becomes the sixth, and that is history. 5 previous HBCU players drafted into the WNBA. 1997, Denique Graves. 1998, Karen Wilkins. Both of those of Howard, that second round, 15 overall. Fourth round, 38 overall. 2002 was a plethora. We had 3 players drafted. Andrea Garden Howard, second round, 27, picked to Utah. Amber Congo Lowe, North Carolina Central, fourth round, 56 overall, picked the Phoenix. Jaslyn Winfield, Southern University, fourth round pick, 59th overall to Utah. And now we have none other than Jackson State University women's basketball player, Misha Williams-Holiday, was selected in the WNBA draft to Indiana Fever, 6'4", senior from Gulfport, Mississippi. Third round pick, 25th overall, becomes the first HBCU player, as we said, since 2002. So a lot of significance in terms of that move. Anything else you want to add for that, Charles?
And, I do want to add that the HBCUs and the WNBA do have a significant sort of history in the inaugural WNBA season. Former HBCU standout coach and player Denise Taylor was first head coach of the Utah Stars. So I did want to point that out there for our history buffs out there.
Nice. I like the way you stuck that in. It was well done and timely, I must add. With that being said, let me sneak this in here a little bit. It's coming. I know it's coming. I just want to give everybody the Big Ben HBCU Football Award. We have our 3 finalists. And so we will make sure you get that information as we move forward. And we'll come out with the finalists. So we haven't forgot that. And just giving you a breath of fresh air a little bit. And making sure people understand that all these things are coming. We want to make sure that you're ready. I can tell you the 3 finalists. We have Andrew Body, Texas Southern University, Jawan Pass of Prairie View A&M University, and Shador Sanders of Jackson State University. 3 quarterbacks. First time we've had 3 quarterbacks as our finalists. Won't tease you with the stats. We'll save that a little bit. Many of you all know probably one of those stats of each of the players that you may have followed for one reason or the other. To remind people when you talk about these three players to be awarded the Big Ben Award, finalists, or even in terms of the candidacy over the year football season, you have to have a connection to Texas, which means either you were born in the state of Texas and played for a HBCU, went to a high school, played football in the state of Texas, and went to a HBCU, or you can be from outside of the state of Texas, but obviously you had to play for a HBCU with a football program that is in the state of Texas to have that connection. So excited about that. We did wait, but we decided we're going to push it because everything going on to the spring football and see if we can recognize these players a little more amongst some of the other accolades that are coming out there. So we look excited as we wind it down and tease it out just a little more in terms of the big band, Cavil Senior HBCU Football Award. And we will make the official announcement as we get a little further down the stretch. So that's a little tease. Keep it coming in terms of what that looks like. Let me go back to you, Drew. Any other thing that you want to add in terms of some HBCU news that you want people to keep on the top of their mind that's intriguing for you right now?
Before I get to that, I do want to say I would love to be in the back room when those three are sitting back there talking trash to each other, seeing which one of them win. I just want to throw that out there because all three of them have that right to brag about something that they did last year.
No doubt about it. Good point. Great point.
Yeah. But I want to go kind of a surprise to a lot of people. Tony Badlock becomes the new men's basketball coach at Alabama State University. Dr. Jason Cavil has announced Tony Badlock as a new men's basketball coach for the Hornets, and he comes by way of South Carolina State after only 1 year at South Carolina State. A couple of things about this, and you can go to the Alabama State, Bama Statesports.com and read more about it. But a couple of things about this hire. Number one, it was rumored that Miles head coach Frederick Watson was the leading candidate for this particular job.
I did hear that.
With Alabama A&M open, makes you wonder if he's on that list and where he ranks on the Alabama A&M list. So maybe that's why that may be one reason for a change of direction by Alabama State compared to the rumors that we were hearing out there. That's number one.
Right. And when you talk about that, is this a case where for whatever reason the job was offered, they couldn't come to financial terms, or did they hear maybe he was leaning in a different direction? It would be interesting, how true are those rumors, or just somebody putting things out there and they were actually purposely going in another direction anyway.
Yeah, and if you go back to Carlos Brown's show, I believe it was 2 Saturdays ago when Coach Van Pettaway was on there, and who's on the search committee for Alabama A&M, and describing the type of person that they were looking to bring in. They were looking to bring in somebody who does not consider Alabama A&M as a stepping stone type job, somebody who's going to be there with some longevity. After seeing this and thinking back to that interview, makes me wonder if Fred is on that list, because he fits a lot of the different criteria that Coach Van Pettaway talked about. Now, I hope Fred's on that list. I hope he gets an opportunity. Damn good basketball coach, has had success both at Benedict and at Miles College. And when I was coaching at Tuskegee, he put a mini L on a brother. Although we did get him our fair share of times too. And also South Carolina State. We've all heard all the different grumblings going on in South Carolina State. A couple of lawsuits by ex-coaches against the administration there at South Carolina State. Did Matlock see something and decide to get out before the ship sank? Or, why did he leave after 1 year? You usually don't see coaches leave after 1 year, especially to take what will be considered essentially a lateral move, mid-major to mid-major move, not moving up to a power 5 school. The only thing about it, you just move conferences, but other than that, it's pretty much a lateral move. So makes you wonder about the state of athletics at South Carolina State also.
Excellent points there. I think the other big news is the fact that his son is in the transfer portal. So do you get
I wonder where he's going.
One? And, right. And he averaged 18 points. So
yeah, that's easy. That's an easy call.
Really solid.
Exactly.
You would think so. But you never know. But that being said, let's get into the break. We'll come back on the other side and dig into some other news and maybe get in a little bit of some baseball updates before we give you an interview in the second half of the show. With that, stick with us, Dr. Cavil, inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Professor Bishop, Professor Drew. Stickers will be right back after this break, heading into the second quarter.
Support the Black College Sports Network so we can continue to provide you coverage. Go to myjbn.com/support and be a part of the Black College Sports
Tell everybody
Network.
they can follow their dreams.
Oh, that spin class was brutal. Well, you can try using the Buick's massaging seat. Oh, yeah, that's nice.
Can I use Apple CarPlay to put some music on?
Sure, it's wireless.
Pick something we all like. Okay, hold on. What's your Buick's Wi-Fi password?
Buick Envision 2021.
Oh, you should pick something stronger. That's really predictable.
That's a really tight spot. Don't worry, I used to hate parallel parking.
Me too.
Hey.
Really outdid yourself.
Yes, we did.
The all-new Buick Envision, an SUV built around you, all of you.
The top HBCU programs in the nation come to Montgomery, Alabama's Riverwalk Stadium this May 11th through 14th for the Black College World Series. The best Black college baseball teams in the NCAA Division II and the NAIA will battle for Black baseball's ultimate pride. Games will be streamed live at www.mybcsn.net. Tickets are available now online at www.blackcollegechampionships.com.
Let's get back to getting ticks instead of watching flicks. Before we can safely get out there, we need the facts on COVID-19 vaccines. Visit getvaccineanswers.org so you can make an informed decision for yourself and for your crew.
Troy, you work here?
I'm never not working. Like Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology, up to 100% dandruff protection, even between washes. Never not working. Never not working. Never ever not working. Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield, never not working.
Press the analytic data with the hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Watson and Charles Bishop. We're on the move with Professor Bishop and Professor Drew, as Drew is sitting in for Mike Washington. Let's get back into it. Let's give some of these honors going on out here. Let's dip in, show a little love to the MEAC, and then let's get into the SIAC. Obviously, the SWAC honors, they usually drop today, Wednesday morning, so we hadn't got them yet. We'll make sure we give them updates on Thursday. But in terms of what we have, MEAC, Professor Bishop, give us some MEAC, and then we'll go to Drew to see if he can sneak in a little bit of the SIAC updates for us.
Yeah, let's go with the MEAC. They announced their weekly baseball honors, which is presented by Coca-Cola. Delaware State sophomore infielder Trey Page was selected the MEAC Baseball Player of the Week. The conference announced today, and Coppin State pitcher Justin Johnson was named the Rookie of the Week, while Coppin State sophomore Jordan Hamburg, he earned the Pitcher of the Week. Let's take a look at what they did. When we take a look at Delaware State sophomore Trey Page, he batted 500 for the week, racking up 8 hits and 16 at-bats over the course of 5 games, and 6 of those 8 hits were for extra bases. For the week, Page drove in 5 runs, scored 6 times, and he had 3 home runs and 3 doubles. hit safely in all 5 games, including a 3-for-3 effort on Sunday against Maryland Eastern Shore. We take a look at Johnson. He pitched a combined 5 innings in relief in 2 appearances this past week, giving up just 1 earned run and fanning a total of 9 batters. He tossed 2 scoreless innings against Mount St. Mary's, facing the minimum and striking out 3. Then he picked up a 3-inning save against Norfolk State, striking out 6 in only 3 innings of work. In Hamburg, he scouted 5 hits and fanned a career-high 13 batters while walking only 1 in a complete game shutout win over Norfolk State on Sunday. So those were your MEAC honors on the baseball side.
And they're playing 4 games for the baseball standings on a weekly, and they just can't shake each other. Coppin State holds on to first place for the second week, but I mean, it's a 2-game lead. So it's just what it is so far. Coppin State at 9-7, Delaware State and Maryland Eastern Shore at 8-8, and Norfolk State 2 games behind the top leading Coppin State, as we said, at 7-9. So just intriguing when you just talk about how they're clustered up there. Just not a lot of room to shake things out, and they just kind of stick where they are. So if we use that framing of Professor Drew, he's going to say that's just me acting, but I'm not going to go there for it.
It's very clustery.
Yeah, it is. SIAC, give us some updates in terms of what's going on over there, Professor Drew, and the SIAC. As we are starting to get ready, Division II, they close things down. Obviously, you have baseball in the SIAC, softball, and in both the SIAC and the CIAA. But let's focus on that baseball as you're getting ready for the Black College World Series. But give us some updates. What's going on over there in the SIAC?
We're going to start off with the weekly honors. Issa Bing of Clark Atlanta University was named Player of the Week, and Jeremiah Retto of Albany State was named Pitcher of the Week. Bing is a 6-foot infielder sophomore from Decatur, Georgia. He had 11 hits, 7 RBIs, scored 10 runs over 4 games last week for Clark Atlanta as they won all 4 of those games. He went 2 for 2 against Morris College. And then in 3 games against Benedict, he went 9 for 14 with 7 RBIs, 8 runs scored, stole 2 bases, and just for good measure, he went yard 1 time. Jeremiah Retto of Albany State, a 5'9" pitcher from right there in Albany, Georgia. He improved his season record at 6-2 after a dominating performance on the mound against Morehouse. Jeremiah pitched 9 innings for a shutout win over the Maroon Tigers. Retto gave up 6 hits while striking out 8 batters. Anytime you get more strikeouts than hits, chances are you're going to win 9 out of 10 of those games. So taking a look at the SIAC standings. Just a second. My computer's loading.
In the West, top couple of teams.
Yeah, SIAC went away from the divisional format for baseball. They
that's right, it sure did.
Top 8 teams will qualify for the tournament. Savannah State 22-1 in conference. That one loss, I believe, was to Kentucky State early in the conference schedule back in March. Albany State just can't catch them because Savannah State refuses to lose. Albany State with a very impressive 17-3 record. I mean, 17-3 any other year puts you at first place except for this year. Miles coming in at third place at 15-6. Spring Hill 13-4. Kentucky State 8-4. Kentucky State's been hampered by weather. That's why they've they have struggles catching up with the number of games. Tuskegee 8-9, and then Morehouse, Lane, and Clark kind of rounded up. Everybody else down there. Morehouse with 6 wins. Everybody else 3 or less in conference.
Great update in terms of SIAC. Should be fascinating in terms of how it goes out, those teams that gets into the tournament, any upset there, and what that will mean for the Black College World Series as those teams are jockeying for positions to make sure they put themselves in a position maybe to get an invite to that tournament. really fascinating when you just kind of talk about what that looks like. I did want to backtrack and give some love to the women's side in terms of softball. Maryland Eastern Shore is getting it done, sitting at 10-2. Right behind them are Norfolk State and Morgan State sitting at 9-3, and then Howard is 8-3, passing it up. The rest of the teams are struggling a bit in terms of multiple losses in terms of the conference race. So it'll be fascinating to see how that continues to churn out, if you would, over there in the MEAC. Fascinating things going in that position there. With that being said, did want to get your thoughts, Charles, a little bit of some of these scores from the SWAC. You know, it's interesting, you know, things seem to maybe tighten up, change it around. What's going on? My intrigue right now, obviously a lot of things going on in the West, but some of us wanted to bury Jackson State, or at least some people out there did. And you had that interesting matchup in terms of the rivalry. Mississippi Valley, Jackson State. Valley looked like he was on the upstart in a lot of ways, really playing some solid baseball, took the win against Bethune-Cookman. But as things starting to play out, maybe Bethune-Cookman is not as strong as we thought they would be as they sat at the top. That has changed a little bit. Had the rivalry series, if you would, over in the West with Prairie View, Texas Southern. Going back to the East, you had the FAMU and Bethune-Cookman. Somebody brought out the brooms in one of those games there. But Jackson State, they kind of moved out of that bottom of the cellar there. What do you think of some of this baseball going on?
Yeah, the reality is Jackson State was looking up at Mississippi Valley going into that series, huge weekend series for Jackson State. The backs woke up. Mississippi Valley State's pitching was the salve that the Jackson State backs needed over the weekend. Huge weekend sweep. And we'll see what that does for this Jackson State baseball team. We'll see if it gets them going in this second half of the season. But the big ones that I was looking at this weekend, FAMU sweeping Bethune-Cookman, and then Prairie View taking 2 of 3 from Texas Southern. So I thought that was a huge weekend for Prairie View's baseball team as that West bunches up even more. Like I said, we've been taking a look at Texas Southern, but they've kind of stubbed their toe the past couple of weeks now.
Top 8 teams, 4 in each division, go to the SWAC baseball tournament. So let me give you those teams. Standings in the East. Alabama State is 10-2. FAMU, with the big sweep of Bethune-Cookman, ascends to number 2 at 9-3. Bethune-Cookman falls to 7-5. Jackson, and now they would be in the tournament at 4-8. The rest of the teams are sitting at 3-9. In terms of the West, top 4 teams are Southern, 9-3, ascended to the top of the conference. And they got a game up on both Prairie View and Grambling State, 8-4. As Southern was able to sweep their series with Alcorn, Grambling and Prairie View took 2 out of 3. And so you have Arkansas, Pine Bluff, and Alcorn State bringing up the rear outside, looking in to see if they can find a way to make some room to get in there. Team that's interesting is Texas Southern that started off so hot. They fell to 6-6, did everything they needed to do to make sure they didn't get swept down there, Prairie View. This week, we'll talk a little more about this on Thursday as you start looking at the fact that games will be played a little early. You'll have Thursday, Friday, Saturday in terms of series because of Easter Sunday. But things get just as interesting. We'll sneak this out there. Prairie View heads into Southern. We'll talk about some other matchups. We'll take our break as we get into it, and we'll be right back after this segment. This is Dr. Bill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Stick with us. We'll be back after this break.
Your ad could be ran here. MyJBN.com/support. MyJBN.com/support for more information.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge, featuring a meticulous, curated collection of premium cigars. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. That's www.slowburnwaco.com.
Itchy, squirmy, scratchy, family not getting clean? Get Charmin Ultra Strong. Go get 'em! It just cleans better. With a diamond weave texture, your family can use less while still getting clean.
Goodbye, itchy squirm.
Hello, cream bottom.
We all go. Why not enjoy the go with Charmin?
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Coming back off of assignment, we have Professor A.D. Drew and Professor Charles Bishop getting into a little discussion about this baseball. Let's take a deeper dive. BCSN does a ranking system. You've heard this for football. You've heard it for men's and women's basketball. Many of y'all don't realize they do it for baseball as well. And they break it down from NIA, NCAA Division II, and NCAA Division I, obviously football is FCS. Fascinating about that because the only program that I know out there that dedicates this space and separates what it looks like at the NIA and the Division II level. Most programs, including ours, when we look at these rankings, we tend to put NIA and Division II together. We do it, we call it mid-major level. Baseball, Black College Nines, they do it. They call it the small colleges, if you would, as we call the Division I FCS, major division, and other ones call it large Division I, Division II type breaks down. But tell us how you come up with this formula, Drew, before we get into these top teams.
Well, just a little bit of background. My formal training is I have a degree in economics, so me putting formulas together like this is how I am formally trained with a bachelor's degree in economics. So with that, getting that out the way, basically what we do is we assign points based upon the records of the teams. The points are determined by conference win percentage, overall win percentage. Those who are added together. Then we take a strength of schedule. We have we use Massey ratings to determine their strength of schedule. We factor that in. Also factor in their power rating, and finally you get bonus points for road wins and non-conference HBCU wins. So those teams that play other HBCUs outside of their conference, because if you play HBCU in your conference, that's already in the formula. We give you bonus points for that, so that you're getting more of an apples to apples comparison. So for example, if Jackson State were to play Norfolk State in baseball, those would be considered bonus games, bonus opportunities to earn bonus points and move them up our rankings. We take all those together, we put them in a pot, run the algorithm, and the formula is what we have.
Let's do this before we take this break. We get prepared to bring our interview in. Tell us the top two teams in each of the division, if you would. Let's go through that, and then we'll head into a break.
All right. In the NAIA, we'll start bottom up. NAIA, your top two teams are Russ College and Talladega, as you see right there on the screen. You can read the rest of them for yourself. Russ coming in with 160 points, Talladega coming in with 154 points. And this was games through this past Sunday.
Good stuff. Let's go ahead and turn to Division II. Give me the top two. I like that Xavier, as they've gotten in the baseball business, they're playing really solid baseball just for a second-year program. What do you got at the Division II level, the top 2 teams there?
Division II may surprise a few people, as we have Albany State rated slightly above Savannah State, and that is based on strength of schedule by Albany State. Obviously, SIAC is going to balance itself out because everybody plays everybody in SIAC. That's a lot of that's based on the non-conference opponents that they have had thus far.
I like that's pretty awesome. Go to the Division I. Thing that stands out here to me for everybody as he brings it up and you see it. A lot of swag.
A lot of swag is all swag. I mean, when you got the BAC beating up on each other, nobody can get a sweep in the BAC. That leaves a swag. I mean, you play somebody 4 times in the BAC, somebody go get a game in there somewhere. At least you would think so. And the BAC has proven it with everybody right there at the Mendoza line, as they like to say it. But Southern, FAMU moved up 2 places based upon that sweep that they had over Bethune, with Bethune dropping 2 places. So they flip-flopped. FAMU was actually able to overtake Alabama State because of that victory. And that was due a lot of strength of schedule, because strength of schedule is determined of the opponent at the time that you play them. If that game was to be played this week, FAMU would not get as much strength of schedule points as they did last week because of where Bethune was rated going into that series.
It's a whole lot of parity, AD, because when you take a look at that list, Southern and SWAC West, then you got 3 SWAC East teams, Prairie View sitting there at 5th, but I'm sitting there thinking about all those teams right there around each other in the SWAC West. A lot of parity in the SWAC baseball standings this year.
So
yeah, it's going to make it interesting for the baseball tournament to really see which division a leveling off, having edge. For the years we thought it was in the West, then you've seen it break to the East, kind of came back to the West. With the expansion, it's going to be fascinating to see what it looks like. Let's get into the break. We have a surprise on the other side. This is Dr. Bill inside HBCU Sports Lab. We'll be right with you after this break.
Thank you guys for what you do for HBCU athletics. This is a fantastic avenue for all of us. This is our ESPN, so we love what you guys do. Brian, AD, Roy, all you guys at BCSN. We really appreciate what it is that you guys do for us.
You see, Head & Shoulders has scalp shield technology, protects against flakes, even between washes. It's never not working.
Kind of like us. Number 15?
Never not working.
I don't like this one.
Me neither.
Let's get out of here.
Head & Shoulders scalp shield, never not working.
The top HBCU programs in the nation come to Montgomery, Alabama's Riverwalk Stadium this May 11th through 14th for the Black College World Series. The best Black college baseball teams in the NCAA Division II and the NAIA will battle for Black baseball's ultimate prize. Games will be streamed live at www.mybcsn.net. Tickets are available now online at www.blackcollegechampionships.com.
Compress the analytic data with the hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Bill inside HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop. Mike is out on assignment, so we have clinical Professor Drew joining us today, along with Professor Bishop. And we have Coach Tamika Reed, that is championship coach Tamika Reed. I should say multi-champion if I want to really get this correct over the year. Welcome to the show. It's so good to have you.
Thank you. Thank you guys for having me.
I want to belabor the point, but I have to say this. You know, as professor of HBCU sports, for a long time, my research has been about HBCU sports. But your post-game interview brought me to my knees in regards to just celebrating the coach of what my research has been about for literally the last 15 years. And what you were able to sum up and was so powerful in a couple of minutes. I've labored the point. So you will forever be my hero, Shiro, as they say it in a lot of ways. So I had to take a couple of minutes and share that with you because it was that dynamic. As they say around these parts, it was really a drop the mic. And I'm like, I couldn't wait to talk about it the next show. I couldn't wait to call Charles and tell all the folks, did you hear that? Did you understand that? Did you see that? That's it. That's it. So I guess I'll get into that. Where did that come from?
Well, first of all, thank you. I appreciate that. Never did I think or want or have any hopes for that speech to go as viral as it did. What happened was, it was a moment of a lot of disrespect that I received in that game. And it was disheartening to go through it, to hear some of the things that the official gave me the technical foul, to hear some of the things that he said to me. He told my assistant coach, you better sit her down before I do. And, I mentioned to him, how do you have the audacity to speak to me that way? I'm a Division I head coach, just like everybody else that you in the other games you've coached. Our program is 21-0 in terms of the wins in a row. We're 18-0 in the conference. We have a stellar program. You wouldn't talk to Kim Mulkey like that, is what I told him. And so it was just a moment, it was just a moment that I felt very degraded, and I felt less than. And I knew I had to fight for my team in that game. It wasn't about the X's and O's. It wasn't about anything but keeping my girls motivated, keeping them encouraged, and being able to fight that battle on that stage in terms of making sure we got the respect we needed to have a chance to win that game. And so after the game, my players were so hurt. And I just saw the hurt on their faces, and they just felt like I felt empty. They felt empty. They looked empty, and they were so upset. The words they were using, I said, you guys, we're not going to walk away and hang our hats on that one game. We're not going to walk away and give one person that much credit for taking away an opportunity. We made mistakes. We missed crucial free throws. We missed layups. We turned the ball over. And we had some other obvious things that happened in that game, but we're not going to pinpoint one thing at all. What we are going to do is keep knocking on these doors. You have accomplished some things that hadn't been accomplished in HBCU basketball, is what I told the team. And that's where that came from. I told them that in their locker room, we're going to keep knocking. If anybody can knock a door down and create opportunity, Jackson State women's basketball can do it. And I told them we will do it. And so that's what the whole speech was about, to make sure my players had more fight coming into this next year. Now we got something to fight for. Now we got something bigger to prepare for. So that's where that came from.
Wow. You certainly poured it in them, and you keep knocking those doors now, but now I'm officially a little nervous. I pull for some of these other schools. I'm a big fan, but I'm like, now we have more motivation. Oh my goodness. But with that being said, I don't want to hog it up, so I'm gonna share. Let me go to Charles. You're very familiar with Professor Bishop over there, as we like to call him in these parts. Let him ask a question, and then we'll follow up Professor Drew.
Sure thing. Thanks, Doc. But, Coach, and I want to say this as an alumnus first of Jackson State, you were at the head of this metamorphosis of Jackson State athletics. I remember telling Ashley Robinson back, I believe, a couple of years ago, at least 2-3 years ago, and there was a semifinal loss to Southern in the SWAC tournament. And I said, Coach, I told Ashley, I said, you have a coach here who is at the cusp of turning this whole thing around. So I want to start off by thanking you for that.
Thank you.
And I want to say this, you've positioned this Jackson State basketball team right here as what I would consider a mid-major, a la a Gonzaga, a Butler, or a Virginia Commonwealth. What are the next steps that this program has to take now to go forward into really cementing themselves in the NCAA tournament going forward?
Yeah, that's a great question. And what it's truly a blessing. And I'm just just so thankful that when you write down plans and you write down your goals, you're able to accomplish those. And God sees fit to show favor and mercy for you to accomplish those goals. Every plan that I've had for Jackson State, I had a 4-year plan. I'm in my 4th year. We saw those plans come forward. The one thing I went back and looked over my 4-year plan about 2 weeks ago that we hadn't accomplished was to get to the second round of the NCAA tournament. And, you know, national prominence, national attention, that was something big for this 4th year. And I'm telling you guys, having our player drafted last night, you know, striking the media with the speech, playing a game that we played against LSU, the national attention is there. Now we have to continue to go forward. They just came out with the top 25 mid-majors in the program in the country, and we're number 15.
Wow.
I'm very proud of that. And so, you know, so now we're able to bring in some better recruits. We have some better players coming in because we want to continue to elevate. And for us, we want to get to that second round of the tournament. And now even more so, we want to get to the Sweet 16. We want to do some things. That's been our whole thing here at Jackson State. Do something that's never been done. That's what my women's basketball program has really locked in on and want to accomplish here as we go, you know, into different years. So now we want to do something that's never been done. Let's get to second round. Let's get to the Sweet 16. That's going to be a tough feat to accomplish. Not by any means would it be easy, but that's what our plans are and our vision for this next season is going to be. Obviously, I want to say this, with all due respect, we want to be competitive in our preseason next year. We want to do great in our conference. We want to win our conference, and we want to have another chance to get to that NCAA tournament to get to the second round and hopefully Sweet 16.
Sure thing. Thank you, Coach.
Professor Drew, great points.
Well, first of all, full disclosure, I'm a Florida A&M graduate and a Tuskegee graduate. But last night, I was an HBCU fan. You know, sitting watching the other 4-letter network and hoping that we did hear her name called. We know we always read the projections about this player may get drafted, that player may get drafted. Not only WNBA, but all sports. But to actually sit there and watch an HBCU player get drafted, and no matter what happened in Miami last year or what happened in Miami this year, I was a Jackson State fan last night, the Misha Williams Holiday fan last night. Now, with that being said, I want to lighten the room up a little bit, Coach. You've had these guys, Bishop and Neely, putting microphones in your face for the last year and a half. So I've got to ask, this question is twofold. What has it been like dealing with those two coming up to you, probably at some inopportune times? Because as a coach, sometimes they won't interview, but you in coach mode right then. That's number one. And then number two, on a more serious level, what has it been like having something like the pregame show as a pseudo arm of the athletic department and sports information to help get your story out?
You know, I think it's great. You know, I like the fact that they come up. I like when they come up in heated moments. I like when they come up, you know, after games. I think it's all in preparation. You know, it's all in preparation for preparing for, you know, for that atmosphere for bigger scenes. Because if they didn't do it, I wouldn't have the experience with it. And so I'm very thankful that they are able to do that. It helps me grow as a coach, and it helps me, you know, be able to talk and deliver messages from our team perspective. So I thank you guys for that perspective as well. And it also helps put our program in the spotlight for people to learn more about our program. I am just so happy that we're able to pull people like you, you know, who went to other HBCUs, but still support women's basketball here at Jackson State, not in terms of win and losses, but because of respect. That's what their platform gives us when they are able to record us and put us on social media and on YouTube so the country can see it. I'm just really happy because I'm seeing them grow. I'm seeing the technology grow. I'm seeing their equipment continue to grow. Their questions get better and better every time. So it's just a great process to be able to go through and experience with those two guys. And they are so talented, so super talented.
Thank you, Coach. Really appreciate that.
Yeah, I guess y'all can keep coming back now. So, it's a good check. You know,
Hey,
we have to deal with
you can pay me. You can pay me later for asking that question, Charles.
As we get to it, and to that point, before we get back to your question, Raymond Cox did say, "I guess Charles Bishop is okay sometimes." So, with that being said, let's get into the big news, what everybody saw and excited about, and give us some insight that we may not have heard thus far. And that was that Indiana Fever kicked off the third round of the WNBA draft by selecting Amisha Williams-Holiday of Jackson State University of the SWAC, HBCU program, obviously the sixth player to be drafted by the NBA. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, that was huge for us. Amisha was extremely nervous. She did paperwork to enter the draft about 3 months ago. The WNBA sent me an email, and when I got the email, I was like, oh my goodness, she is getting ready to complete paperwork. We didn't seek for that. We didn't send for that. They sent it to us. We had her to do this paperwork. It was about 20, 25 pages long, very detailed paperwork. And so I knew she had somewhat of a chance. What kind of chance, we just didn't know. And then, you know, Amisha had some pro combines to go work out for. She did not want to go. So, you know, I saw fit to get her to one. Brian Adams got her to that one. And then we had another one in Minnesota for her to go to. And she didn't want to go. She said, Coach, I'm not going to another combine. I said, Amisha, you know, we're coming from an HBCU. You're my superstar. I get it, but they don't understand what you are to me and why you are that. We got to go show these people you know what you're doing. No, Coach, I'm good. I don't want to go to the combine. So I said, okay. So then, you know, we did research and found the best agent. Her agent also represents Victoria Bivens and some other big time players. And so when we talked to him, he was sold. He was excited about her. So going into the draft, he had already spoke to about 5 teams. He knew there was a lot of interest, you know, coming aboard from all these teams, but he just didn't know which way she was going to go. Who would take the chance, right? And so everybody liked Amisha. They liked what she brought, but nobody was ready to take that chance. The day of the draft, everybody started calling her agent. 4 teams. 4 teams were really wanting her. We're going to take her 27. One team said they was going to take her late third in the 30s, and one team said 27. Derek Fisher from Los Angeles Sparks called and said, hey, I'm taking her at 27. And while he was on the phone with Derek Fisher, Indiana Fever took her at 25.
Wow.
So, and I told Amisha, I said, Amisha, they are all wanting you. Somebody gonna take you earlier. And as soon as 25 hit, I knew it was gonna be her name because of the way the teams had started communicating with her agent and wanting her to stay until a little later.
I really appreciate you taking us inside that and sharing some of that news. I really also commend you all to taking the extra step of doing the watch party. So everybody, especially Amisha, could enjoy that with the family, players, and coaches. I think that is significant to take that extra step. And then you shared it with a lot of other folks. That was huge. Let me let Charles get in here and ask this final question because we know your time is valuable.
Sure thing. Last question, and I want to ask from a coaching perspective, what do you think Amisha needs to do to be on that Indiana Fever roster come opening day?
Well, I told Amisha she leaves out tomorrow at 10:30, flying to Indiana. And I told her, you are a pro now. And you have to carry yourself as such. It's no more shy girl. You're going into a training camp where everybody's trying to get theirs. Everybody wants to look good. You have to demand the ball when you post up. Don't just assume they're going to give it to you. Demand the ball. Open your mouth. Have a voice. Be a beast on the board. Run the floor. You have to outdo some players because right now you're still questionable in their eyesight. You got to go make some believers out of them. If anybody can do it, I know you can. That's the conversation I had with her today. And I told her I need you in the gym early, leaving late. This is not Jackson State, where you just walk in the gym and you're better than everybody that comes on the floor. No, you're with pros. be in early, leave late. So she understands. I told her, I want you to change all your thought process. They don't see you as better than them. To me, you are, but they don't see that. You have to work, you have to prove who you are and show them what you're working with. And so that's the conversation I had with her. Those are some things she's going to have to do from the initial front to show what type of player she is. But I told her also, I need her shooting the basketball from away from the basket. You know, she can add that to her game. She's going to be that much tougher to defend. And she already has a really good jump shot. I told her, don't be afraid to shoot that ball. And also I told her be able to put the ball on the floor, 1 or 2 dribbles to get to the rim. If the girls are bigger than her, because she's going in at a center. If the girls are bigger than you, you got to get around them. So, you know, we talked about the moves that we worked with her all year on, and I told her you got to go and show those moves. Show these coaches that you have some skill development with you, that you know what you're doing, because right now they don't think we teach anything in the HBCU community. That's why it's so hard for our players to get drafted. Show them what you know is what I told her. So I think, you know, that point, and she's one of those players that she's going to prove. She had to prove herself at Mississippi State. That's what she told me. She said, Coach Reed, when I went to Mississippi State, I had to guard Tiara McGowan. Tiara, you guys, is 6'7", 6'8", big, a successful career in the WNBA. She had to guard her. And she said she's the only player in practice who defended her and who could score over her. And I said, we'll do the same thing in this
That's
training.
right.
So, yeah.
That's awesome.
That's right. Yeah. We ready to go. I see where you get down and how you get it. Get the players to be such motivated. I'm fired up. I really want to thank you for your time. Appreciate you joining us. And we're going to close on that great note, a little coaching perspective, if you would, as you get back out there. Keep us updated. We want to know how it's going on the recruiting trail. So whenever you need to get back, or if you give us a chance, let us know when it's appropriate to give us some updates. We'd love to continue to connect and see where you're going with this program, because it is exciting to be a part of this. It seems like in so many different ways. So I want to say thank you again, and congratulations on what you have, what's ahead of you as well.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much. I've enjoyed it. Thank you.
Right.
Thank you, Coach.
Keep working, Coach.
Amen.
Thank you for listening to Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Make sure you share our podcast with your friends and colleagues. I am Dr. Kenyatta, the Dean of HBCU Sports, coming from inside the lab in the College of HBCU Sports with Mike Watson and Charles Bishop. Visiting us today is Clinical Professor Drew. Before we close out, as we do in normal shows, any final thoughts from you, Drew, that you want to share in terms of that electrifying interview? Great question you asked there.
Now, the only thing I want to know is, and I asked this on the media call last night, the bar has been raised not only for Jackson State, but HBCU athletics, HBCU women's athletics. Where is that new bar, and can we meet those expectations? That's what I am really looking forward to see, because, you know, is this a one-off, or is this going to be something that's consistent? And when we know Jackson State has made it, or another HBCU has made it, when they don't win the conference and receive it at large, that's when we know we've made it.
Great point. Great point. Let me go to you, Professor Bishop. Any final thought that you wanted to share before we close it up?
I'm glad Coach Reed brought out a guest that we had on the show, Brian Wanky Adams. Had an opportunity to talk with him today. He's as excited and proud that Amisha was at his combine and had an opportunity to get her name out there in front of some WNBA entities. So he's extremely proud of her. It was great talking to him, and I'm glad we had him on the program, because in a lot of ways, you know, her getting to that combine was a preemptive in terms of getting drafted. So definitely want to send a shout out to former Alcorn great, Brian Wanky Adams.
No problem. Coach Adams got it done, and appreciate you connecting to make sure you get in the show. And it kind of led up to this ultimate destination that we thought was going to happen. So it worked out that way. With that being said, again, we want to thank you for listening to Dr. Bill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Watson, Charles Bishop, every Tuesday and Thursday at 6 o'clock Central Standard Time. We'll be back on Thursday. We'll get into some baseball and tell you about some of those matchups. We might even have some updates is Thursday is going to kick things off instead of the normal Friday as we get into the Easter holiday weekend. Wishing everybody safe as they get into that as well. So we look forward to seeing you on Thursday as we discuss the latest news in the lab. Follow me, Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. That's DrKenyattaCavil. That's DrKenyattaCavil. Inside HBCU Sports Lab 1. That's on Twitter, Facebook, Inside HBCU Sports Lab on YouTube as well. Like and subscribe. Dream big and continue to move forward. We will talk with you soon. Charles.
Of course.
Drew.
Lecture.
Dismiss.
Well, holla.